one claw, and the skin and flesh are torn open. These incredible ancient weapons. How many do you know? Today, I'll show you some of them. The 9 most incredible ancient weapons. The last few are truly kingly in their existence. This thing is similar to a modern rocket launcher. It's from the era of King Taejong of Joseon, developed by Li Dao, the assistant supervisor, and Kui Haishan, the deputy supervisor of the military arsenal. A type of 2-wheeled war chariot, its prototype was the single-wheeled fire chariot equipped by the Ming Dynasty army. There were 2 types, the Shenji arrow type and the tube type. The Shenji arrow type mounted 100 medium-sized Shenji arrows on the chariot, with a range of up to 100 paces. The cylindrical type holds 54 tubes. These tubes are loaded with short arrows. It uses a shotgun-like scattering principle. The matrix arrangement can achieve the effect of thousands of arrows firing simultaneously. Although the power of the firecard is considerable, its accuracy is unsatisfactory. Many strangely shaped weapons were produced in India, but the most dangerous among them is this 3-bladed dagger. It's a weapon used by Rajput warriors in ancient India. It evolved from the heraldi double-bladed dagger. Legend says the Rajputs used a similar double-bladed weapon to slaughter their enemies. The 3-bladed dagger was developed from the double-bladed knife by adding a ring and a small blade. Its length is about 10 centimeters. The blades on either side are 23 centimeters long. This type of double-bladed knife is mentioned in almost every wuxia novel. They may be the world's first discovered 3-bladed daggers. Tiger claw literally means a tiger's claw. This is a claw-shaped weapon from India. It comes in 2 forms. One way is to grip the handle behind the iron claw. Use a rope to tie the claw to your forearm. The other way is like holding brass knuckles. But this weapon is far more powerful than the brass knuckles used by thugs. Those steel claws are like a beast's claws. A light scratch can tear one's flesh. Grabbing the throat is a sure kill. Actually, China also has a similar claw weapon, with far greater lethality than tiger claws, striking fear into the hearts of enemies. Do you know what it is? In Chinese history, what bizarre-looking but incredibly powerful cold weapons existed? Let's continue our inventory of the 9 most unbelievable ancient weapons. As one of the 18 classic weapons of China, the Wo boasts the most bizarre shape. At first glance, it resembles a modern-day back-scratcher. It first appeared during the late Zhou dynasty and into the early Qin dynasty. Like many cold weapons, the Wo was not initially used in actual combat. Instead, it functioned as a ceremonial instrument. Since its appearance, the Wo gradually evolved into 3 types. There are long weapons, short weapons, and soft weapons. The Wo consists of a head and a long handle. The head is like the claw of a ferocious beast, with finger-like tips at the end, incredibly sharp. Once caught by its claws, the enemy will find it hard to escape. Forcibly breaking free will tear off a large chunk of flesh. If one's neck is caught, there's only death awaiting. The 3-pointed, 2-edged blade is a rather unusual type of knife. This knife originated from the broadsword. Although its name is knife, it's actually a sword with a long handle. According to the records in the Wujing Zhongyao, the origin of the 3-pointed, 2-bladed dao, basically, it evolved from the falling knife. The handle is about 2 meters long, to increase its chopping and killing capabilities. The blade is made relatively long. Whether it's chopping, stirring, thrusting, or stabbing, or slashing, throwing, wrapping, or circling, it's effortless. Due to the popularity of Investiture of the Gods and Journey to the West. In the novel, Erlang Shen's favorite weapon is the 3-pointed, 2-edged dao. Therefore, people habitually call this type of weapon the Erlang Dao. As one of the traditional Chinese martial arts weapons, the Ma Thorn looks like 2 oversized embroidery needles. But don't underestimate this weapon. It's about 30 centimeters long. It's cone-shaped, thicker in the middle and thinner at both ends. There's a ring in the middle. When used, one holds one in each hand. The ring is placed on the middle finger of each hand. It can be operated very flexibly. A martial arts expert can use this characteristic to deliver a fatal blow. The destructive power is considerable. It can easily pierce flesh and blood. Even the thickest plate armor can't withstand a single strike. Moreover, it's amphibious. A cold weapon with extremely high lethality. But to achieve a 100-to-1 kill ratio, the ancient weapon I'm about to discuss is a king-level existence. The hooked sickle spear, specifically designed to cut horses' legs. Zug Lianu, which could be considered the ancient version of the Gatling gun. These incredible ancient weapons, just how terrifying were they? Give me a lever, and I can move the earth. Speaking of this famous saying, everyone should think of Archimedes. 214 BC. Rome besieged Sicily. It is said that Archimedes invented a powerful weapon during this war. A weapon of incredible power. Using only a few drops of water, He could reduce Roman warships 150 meters away to ashes. The device seemed very simple, a copper cannon barrel heated over coals, launching hollow clay projectiles. When the copper pipe reaches a certain temperature, a small amount of water is injected into the copper pipe under the launcher. When the water evaporates, the steam pressure propels the projectile towards the enemy. The clay projectile shatters on impact, and the flammable chemicals inside immediately spread across the entire wooden ship. Yuanrong crossbow. It was a repeating crossbow invented by Zhuge Liang during the Three Kingdoms period. Later generations called it the Zhuge repeating crossbow. It could fire 10 iron bolts, each 8 inches long, at once. This greatly increased the crossbow's lethality. However, it was large and heavy. It was mainly used to defend cities and camps. It can be considered an ancient version of the Gatling gun. Later, the great inventor Ma Jun improved it. Its power is even greater, making it a repeating crossbow capable of firing 50 bolts in succession. However, due to the complex manufacturing process, it was lost after the fall of Shu. The hooked sickle spear, also known as the Mazadao, was made by binding a sickle to a long spear with hemp rope. It was used in infantry combat, and was a type of weapon used in ancient chariot warfare. Its design features a hook on the spearhead's sharp edge. It's a long spear with a backward-pointing hook, specifically designed to counter enemy cavalry. When the cavalry charged into the formation, the soldiers in the formation could use the hooked spear to slash at the horse's legs. This would force the enemy to dismount. In Chinese history, Yu Fei and Yuan Shu engaged in a decisive battle at Yancheng. Yu Fei only had a contingent of soldiers wielding hooked scythe spears. They fought a bloody battle against Yuan Shu's iron tower soldiers and crooked-legged horses. When encountering the crooked-legged horses, they specifically targeted the horses' legs. They fought so fiercely that Yuan Shu fled in utter defeat. So, what other incredible ancient weapons do you know?